Hi friends, welcome to my channel. My name is Bethany and today we're going to talk about my favorite books from 2023. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, the first book I'm going to talk about is a middle grade book, and that is A Night Divided by Jennifer A. Nielsen. This is a historical fiction middle grade about set around the time that the Berlin Wall went up. And the main character, her dad and brother are on the other side when the wall goes up. So her mom and her other brother are with her on the other side. I really loved the characters in this, the depth of the characters, their bravery and just strength in this hard time. I loved the way that it showed like the thought process and the struggle between like wanting to like be obedient and do what you're told and trust like the government and people in charge, and then not also. So anyway, I thought it was really well done. But the next one is also a middle grade, and that is Rain Rain by Anne M. Martin. I loved this book so much. It was just such a good read for me. This is about a girl named Rose. She has autism and she loves homonyms, and she like has a book and keeps track of homonyms. She has a dog named Rain because that's a homonym, and the dog like gets lost in a storm, and so she's trying to find her dog. And I just love the character of Rose so much. I feel like she is like a real person. She's like probably my favorite character that I read this year, and I just thought the book was really sweet. Her uncle and the relationship that they have is also really sweet, and it's just a good book. It had some heavy topics in it, but overall I just really enjoyed it. Okay, the next one is River Sing Me Home by Eleanor Shearer. This is a historical fiction about a woman who was enslaved in the Caribbean, and then she escaped and is going to search for her children because she has had children while she was enslaved that she was separated from, and so she's going on this journey to find her kids. And it was a beautiful story. The writing was very beautiful, the cover is beautiful. I just really liked that like mothering aspect, like the heart of a mother in finding her children, and just all of that she was going through. I just felt like the author did such a good job at articulating that feeling of motherhood. Okay, the next one is Shaped by the Waves by Christina Suzann Nelson. This is a Christian fiction dual timeline. It felt very much like a family like mystery. I enjoyed it. I read a lot of Christian fiction for the first time this year pretty much, and I enjoyed this a lot. This one actually almost didn't make my list of favorites, but I can remember like the details about it. It did go through a lot of hard things. It did go through like aging of a loved one and like caregiving for a loved one and medical things like that. And it did have some, I believe, domestic violence in it. I can't remember how detailed that was, but that is in there. It did have a lot of like heavy topics, but it was a really good and engaging read, and I enjoyed the Christian perspective in there. I don't remember a lot of details about the faith content, but I know it was there, so I would recommend this one. Okay, the next one is The Edge of Belonging by Amanda Cox. This is a Christian fiction dual timeline, also kind of like a mystery drama type story, I guess. But it was really good. The faith content in this was really great, and I loved the characters. There was an older woman in it, I think her name was Pearl, and just her character and her faith was great. I loved that so much. After this, I did read 2 more of Amanda Cox's books, so I think I've read all of hers. I think she has kind of like a prequel novella to this one, and I haven't read that, but I think I've read everything else that she has written and really enjoy her writing. I think she does faith really well and just writes really great stories. Okay, the next one is Bless Your Heart, Ray Sutton. This is a contemporary Christian. It's not really a romance. I wouldn't consider it a romance, but it kind of looks like it. There is a little bit of romance in it, but it's mainly about this woman, Ray Sutton, who is recently going through a divorce, and also her mother passes away, and so it has a lot about grief in it, a lot of faith content, and then what I really loved about it was the like relationships. So she goes back to her mom's house to kind of like take care of things there, to the town that she grew up in, and her mom had this group of women that she met with that I think they called it a prayer group, but anyway, they're kind of like fun older women, and so Ray Sutton starts meeting with them for their prayer meeting, and so I just really liked those characters and the growth that Ray Sutton went through as she dealt with divorce and loss and grief in her life. She also had has a teenage daughter in the story who I really liked how oh, I forgot to say this is by Susanna B. Lewis, and I really liked how she wrote that teenage character and like the relationship with the mom. I just felt like sometimes like characters in books that are teenagers, that like in adult books, the teenage characters, you know, might not have a lot of like depth to them, or they might just be like kind of the stereotypical teen, but her daughter was just such a really great character and just so kind, and I just felt like she represented what like real teenagers are like sometimes. I mean teenagers can be teenagers, but like my teenagers are really like caring and kind, and I just felt like that's how her daughter was, and I really appreciated that in this book. Okay, the next one is the only one I don't have a physical copy of, and I listened to it on audio, and I really enjoyed it, but not to the point where I wanted to buy the book, I guess, and that is Finlay, Donovan is Killing It by Elle Cosimano. This was just so much fun. It's such a fun read. I tried a couple of cozy mysteries this year, and they were really not for me. I don't know. I'm not going to completely give up on them, but I feel like they're just a little bit too cheesy, too like silly for me. But this felt like kind of a cozy mystery, but not too much. Like, I don't think it's really a cozy mystery. I don't know. It was pretty popular, and it just was like funny. I really enjoyed it. I did like continue, and I don't remember if I made it all the way through the second one and then got to the third one, or if I stopped on the second one, but basically she kind of lost me like as I tried to continue, which I'm not a big series reader, but also I think it was just like, oh, that first one was fun, but I don't need to know more. It's kind of like one of those stories that where like she accidentally did something wrong, and then she's like trapped in this like tailspin of crime, sort of, and then she's also like trying to figure out who the bad guys really are or whatever. I don't even know how to explain it. I feel like most people know. Okay, the next one is Love and a Little White Lie by Tammy L. Gray. This is a Christian contemporary romance, and I was really surprised about how much I loved this book. I even think that it made me cry. It was pretty deep. There was like a lot more to the story than just the romance, and I really liked that. But it was really enjoyable, and I do have the second book, so even though I said I'm not like a big series reader, I think I might try to read the second one of this one and just see how that goes. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. She has a breakup and then goes to live with her aunt, I believe, and then basically she's like not a believer. She somehow like gets connected through her aunt, I think, to this church, and then she gets offered a job. She takes it. She doesn't share that she is not a believer, and then she meets a guy on the worship band, and then kind of like is not really being upfront with him about her like skepticism or her unbelief. So anyway, it is really good. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and like I said, I do think that towards the end I did tear up on this one. Next one is Katherine Center, Hello Stranger. I really enjoy Katherine Center's writing. This is a contemporary romance. I think that this year I'm going to try to read Katherine Center to zero. I've read quite a few of her books and have some on my shelves that need to be read. And then she has a new one coming out this year that I will definitely be getting. It's just every book that I've read of hers, I've enjoyed. So this one is very interesting. I feel like she just has like good plots and good stories along with really great romance. They are so far have all been clean. There is some language, but other than that, I feel like her books are pretty solid and I feel safe recommending them. And anyway, this one is about a girl who ends up having like an accident and becomes like face blind, so she can see but she can't like recognize people's faces. Anyway, and then she has like a lot of family drama going on, and she is an artist, so a portrait artist, so the whole face blindness thing is really messing with her plans. And anyway, so it's also got a love story in it, and it's just really great. Katherine Center is a really good author, so if you haven't read her, you should. The next one is probably one of, I feel like, everyone's favorite books who's read it, and that is When the Day Comes by Gabrielle Meyer. This is a Christian historical fiction with a little bit of magical realism, I guess, time travel in it, and this book was so good. The story was great, the faith was great, the plot twist was great, like just everything. Loved it so much. This is following Libby, and she is a time crosser, which means that every day of her life, well, every other day of her life is spent in a different life, like a different time period, with different family, and everything's different. So her two times are 1774, Colonial Williamsburg, and 1914 in New York City. And so she basically, this is like something that is genetic. She has this mark that her mother also had, her mother in one of the time frames. And so that's the only person that she can really communicate with about her life in these two different times. And she, at the age of 21, has to decide which life she wants to like continue living, because she can only choose one at that point. So it has like great historical components, like I said, great faith content, just excellent overall. Loved it so much. Highly recommend this book. There are some heavy things in it. There is like sexual assault, not super detailed, but it's there and it's talked about. So just wanted to include that. But yeah, it was really, really good. The next one is A History of Wild Places by Shea Ernshaw. So this book was so good and unique and entertaining. There was also some magical realism in this one. I don't remember the details, but it was like the guy could see images of other people's lives when he touched their things, I think. Anyway, don't remember any of the names, but he is going to search for a missing woman in the woods, and there's like this community out in the woods that is like trying to isolate. If you've ever seen the movie The Village, this reminded me a lot of that, and I loved that movie. And so yeah, this was just such a fun read. This is the only book on my favorites of 2023 list that I actually didn't give 5 stars. I gave it 4 stars, and really the only reason why is there was some intense violence in it that I was like, it was just a little bit much for me. I could have done without it. I really, really, really loved the book overall though, so it's kind of hard when that happens. There was some language and some violence that was a little intense. So for that reason, it didn't get 5 stars, but it still made my favorites list because I just will not forget this story, and I thought it was really entertaining and just a really unique and good story, and just the perfect kind of thriller for me, other than the excess violence. But it wasn't like throughout the whole book, so it could definitely kind of be skimmed, but I don't know, I just feel like I need to say that to everyone, and that's why it got 4 stars for me. Okay, now we're gonna talk about my favorite book of 2023, and possibly my favorite book like ever for right now. So that is These Silent Woods by Kimi Cunningham Grant. This is a kind of thriller mystery, also set in the woods. I've kind of learned this about myself, that I love a woodsy mystery. This is following a man and his daughter who are living in this cabin in the woods, isolated, and she doesn't really know why. We don't really know why they are like keeping isolated. And it is such a good story. I don't want to say too much about it because you kind of learn the mystery like as the story goes, and but this book was so good. I loved the father-daughter aspect of it. This is not a Christian like publisher. It's not marketed as a Christian book, but I felt like I could tell that the author is a Christian. Like just the content of like the themes of grace and sacrifice and things, and love. I don't know. I just felt like it was so good. I just really, really, really love this book. I think I'll probably end up rereading it, which I don't do that a lot, but I just kind of want like I want to remember what, you know, the details I'm sure I forgot, and just see how much I like it the second time. But this book was so good. I read her other fiction book that she has out, and then she has one coming out this year that I will absolutely be pre-ordering and reading, and I have like really high hopes and expectations for that. I was just so impressed with this story, and yeah, so it's my favorite. Okay guys, so that was my list of 12 favorites for 2023. Let me know if you've read any of these, and if you liked them, or what your favorite book that you read last year was. I would love to hear about it in the comments. And I do think that I'm going to do a video of books like a list of 12 books I want to read this year in 2024 that are like related somehow, or like somehow connected to this list that I just showed you. So basically taking one of these books and saying, because I liked this so much, I'm gonna choose this book. So you can look forward to that video, hopefully coming out soon. And yeah, thank you so much for being here, and I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Bye.